It starts with just a click, just for a moment. Then it becomes a secret, and before you know it, it steals your hours, your peace, and your real life intimacy. It's the problem of pornography, and it's not just out there in the world somewhere. It's in our families, it's in our churches, but just like there's a way in, there is a way out. It isn't easy, but there's help available. And we'll learn about it today from someone who's been there. Today on Groundwork, our guest is Brian Hoerning, a longtime member of Solid Ground Church and a full-time shepherd and mentor with Standing Stone Ministry. Brian, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, Mike.
Well, can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing these days?
Well, I'm in my 70s, and I did not expect to be doing ministry at this point in my life, but God had other plans. I work with an organization called Standing Stone Ministry. They're made up primarily of pastors who are no longer pastoring. They've been through the ringer like you are in now, and they've had some negative experiences, and some of them haven't, but they recognize that there is a need to walk with current pastors because you guys are the most underserved people in the world. Who serves the pastor? Who do you talk to? Who can you lay it all out to? So we raise our own support, and we minister to pastors with the biggest hope of preventing crisis.
Okay. Yeah.
Ounce of prevention, pound of cure, right? Mm-hmm. So you walk with the pastor, you hear what's going on, and hopefully we keep pastors healthy, in church ministry, thriving. So that's that particular part of what Standing Stone is about. I got involved with Standing Stone in a kind of a backdoor manner. At Solid Ground, I came across a friend of mine who I hadn't seen in years, Todd Retberg. And Todd, the last time I had seen him, was pastoring a church.
Okay.
And yet, here he was, greeting. And I said, Todd, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I'm no longer pastoring. I'm with Standing Stone Ministries. I said, what's that? He said, let's get together for breakfast. Don't get together. Don't do breakfast with Todd. You wind up. Word. Yeah. Anyway, got together with him, and he shared what Standing Stone was about, and he asked me about the recovery ministry that was happening here at Solid Ground. He said, tell me about that. I said, well, it's an area of love for me because I was in a sex addiction for all of my life. And I finally, when I was 41, found a recovery group that worked and got involved with that. And your predecessor, Bob, I was in his office, and he had a whiteboard with all of his goals. I haven't been in your office, but maybe you have that too. Anyway, on there was recovery in bright orange, I still remember. And I said, Bob, what's that about? He said, that's something that God's put on my heart. We need it here, but I don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. And I said, just so happens I do. I had actually been led to write a book, which is called How in the World Do I Help a Sex Addict? And it's a book for pastors.
Okay.
And the reason it's for pastors is because in all the years that I had wanted out of my addiction, I never came across a pastor who could give me the advice that worked. Mm-hmm. The things that they did tell me didn't work, or they partially worked, but they didn't have the big picture. Mm-hmm. So I wrote the book, and I said, anyway, I know how to do this. And he said, where do we start? And so we put together a recovery program here at Solid Ground, still going on. And he said, yeah, we could use you at Standing Stone. And I said, but I'm not a former pastor. He said, think about it. I said, how do you get paid? He said, you raise your own support. I said, no.
Perfect.
No. Not doing that, man. You just close that door. So later on, I got a phone call from another fella in Standing Stone who was Todd's boss.
Okay.
And he said, we heard about you and Donna. I'd like to have you come to lunch, meet us. We may have a job for you. And at that particular point, I was open to another employment position. So we went down and shared our story about what had happened in our lives. And they said, man, we need you at Standing Stone. I said, but yeah, I'm not a former pastor. He said, yeah, but get this, 20%, according to Barna now, 20% of the pastors in the pulpit are dealing with a porn addiction. It's 17% of regular guys that pass, 25% for youth pastors.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and we don't know what to tell them.
Yeah.
I said, well, I know what to tell them. And so we went through the same thing, and I said, what's this about raising support? He said, yeah, you have to do that. I said, man, my wife's head hit the table, you know.
Yeah.
And so he said, look, we've got a training session coming up, and we'd like to invite you guys to be a part of it. Just see. I said, well, what's a training session cost? He said, it's $1,000. I said, all right, I can do that. It wouldn't be easy, but I can.
Right.
He said, yeah, but you see, you have to raise that.
Mm.
And I said, I could pay it. He said, yeah, you have to raise it. I said, why? He said, you're not catching this. Hey, look, if God is in this, the money's going to be there.
Okay.
If God's not in it, we really don't want you, and you don't want this. I said, all right, throw out the fleece. He said, yeah, that's the idea. So we sent out an email, and in 2 weeks, we had $2,500.
Wow.
And I said, okay, God, maybe you're trying to tell us something. So we went to the training, and it worked out. I loved it. We both agreed, and we started. So that was 7 years ago, and it's radically changed. COVID.
Okay.
Used to have 2 or 3 new guys a month. Once COVID hit, we, as the Solid Ground group, had already switched to a place where we could have people join the meetings via Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And so when everything shut down, which it did in 1 week,
mm-hmm.
we couldn't meet anymore. So I switched.
Implications for recovery.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So we switched over to Zoom. And when I let the organization that we do our meetings through know that we were doing Zoom meetings, instead of 2 or 3 a week, 2 or 3 a month, I was getting 2 or 3 a day.
Wow.
And I've kept track of this. And to this point, and that's since 2000, I've had over 3,000 men from all over the world reach out saying, tell me about your meeting.
Wow.
Now, they don't all come.
Sure.
I don't want to give that idea, but
sure.
The ministry opportunity is huge.
The demand is huge.
Yeah, the demand is huge because this is a major sin and it's a major problem.
Yeah. Brian, a second ago, you mentioned pastors not knowing what to do or having the full picture. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times as a youth pastor, kids would come to me or their parents would come to me, and Standing Stone, what you do and your resources have been helpful from getting me from recommending a book and crossing my fingers to actual boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. And we want to talk about how to get out of this. Before we talk about how to get out of pornography, can you talk to us a little bit about how people get hooked in the first place? What reels them in?
Yes. Well, this is an interesting statistic, but it holds true. 97% of the people who are dealing with a pornography problem have had abuse or neglect as a child. That was true for me.
95%?
97%. 97%. Yeah. Now, that number is going to grow because, Mike, when I was a kid, pornography was the Sears Roebuck underwear ads. Mm-hmm. That was it. Or maybe a little National Geographic, Africa special. Mm-hmm. But there was nothing else.
Right.
And today, you carry it around with you. Mm-hmm. Today, I can tell you that the average age that a child has seen pornography, this is boys and girls, is age 9.
Wow.
Age 9. They've seen it. They've seen it. Now, here's the big problem. You're putting something into that child's brain that is not supposed to be there for a decade. Mm-hmm. And their brain is not in a position to be able to handle it. Mm-hmm. The highest high you can get is methamphetamine.
Okay.
Second is cocaine. Third is porn.
Wow.
The dopamine that flows into that child's brain is, wow, what was that? Mm-hmm. And it brings this desire to do it again. Okay. Now, if the child has had the abuse or the neglect, he's an easy target.
Okay.
All right, because what's happened with the abuse and neglect is this child has been shamed. They blame themselves. You know, when we were kids, you watched your cartoons on Saturday morning and there was always a good guy and a bad guy. Mm-hmm. And the good guys win and the bad guys don't. Mm-hmm. So what does the child learn as he's growing up? Well, good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. Mm-hmm. So when abuse happens or neglect happens, the child internalizes this. And what does he say to himself? Good, bad, I guess I'm bad.
Yeah.
Well, that introduces shame into the child. Shame is painful. And the part of the brain that is regulating that says, we got to do something about this. The pleasure center kicks in, and the pleasure center said, what can we find that's going to bring pleasure? And for a boy, he doesn't have to look very far. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that brings pleasure. It is pleasurable. Mm-hmm. All right? It's not supposed to be explored yet, mm-hmm. but it is pleasurable. Mm-hmm. And what happens is you've opened the door for a child to be able to replace negative feelings with positive.
Okay, is that what they talk about when they talk about like novelty versus reward, like kind of a cycle?
Yeah. So instead of feeling pain, mm-hmm. instead of feeling, let's say, scared, there's another way. Okay. Instead of feeling rejected, instead of feeling afraid, angry. And there's a list of things that now are replaced with, instead of feeling that, I can feel this. Mm-hmm. And so it opens the door for an addiction.
And almost like numbing those feelings.
Well, exactly. It's a medication.
Okay.
Right? That medication is exactly the word you want to use.
Okay. There's a video going around YouTube these days. It's an old SNL sketch with Bob Newhart playing a therapist. And he just slams his hand on the table saying, "Stop it!
Stop it."
That's funny as a sketch.
Yes, it is.
What these kids or these teenagers or grown men or mm-hmm. grown women coming who've had a history of this, mm-hmm. where do you even start? Because obviously, if they could do better, they would. If we could stop it, they would. Mm-hmm. Where do you start?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about a recovery program is, surprisingly, it's not for people who need it.
Okay, you're going to have to unpack that one a little bit.
Let me just say the next sentence. It's for people that want it.
Okay.
So a person, and I believe God's hand is in this, mm-hmm. God brings us into a place of impossible. Mm-hmm. You're never going to experience the God who can do the impossible until you're literally faced with it. Mm-hmm. And when you're faced with it, and there's nowhere else to go, there's God with open arms. Okay, so whether the guy is a born-again Christian, whether he's a Muslim, a Jew, I don't care. God uses this kind of a thing to draw people to himself. Because without God's intervention, I don't know any way out of this canyon.
Yeah, willpower doesn't work. Pulling yourself up by the bootstraps doesn't work.
Yep, tried those. Yeah, you're talking about something, the base of the brain, you have your reptilian and your limbic mm-hmm. system. Those are responsible for fight, flight, freeze. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is where the addiction is.
In the limbic system?
Limbic and reptilian.
Okay.
All right, so here's what happens. The child comes up against something that triggers the men, comes up across something that triggers something that happened in his childhood. And the brain says, medicate, 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 medicate. Fight, flight, freeze does not use the prefrontal cortex. It bypasses it.
That's the decision-making part.
That's the decision-making part. Okay. And so this person who was having a normally good day, perfect example, I had one guy who had a major rejection happen at work, a big disappointment. And I said, we want to trace that back because something here triggered your desire to act out. Mm-hmm. When did that happen first? And this happened over a couple of days. He said, I was a 5-year-old boy. I'm sitting on a porch with my sister, my younger sister, and we're waiting for our mother to come pick us up. she never came. I mean, she never came. And he said, that was the
Not
day.
just forgotten.
No, she never showed.
Abandoned.
Yeah.
Wow.
He said, my sister and I, that was the first day that we put into foster care. And I said, so a major disappointment happened then. And here you are, a 40-year-old man, and a major disappointment happens. And what does the brain say? The brain says, medicate that. Wait a minute. I'm a 40-year-old man. Yeah, but see, that part of the brain doesn't have any concept of time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't know that you're not 5 years old.
Right.
It thinks you are. So it sends that message. And what do you do with it? You medicate. Why? I don't know. I just know I need to.
Yeah. Wow. So this is multiple layers. This isn't like the stop it. So that's why it doesn't fix. Because there's got to be multiple layers to peel back. And it sounds to me like the folks that come to you are, if they don't just need it and they want it, mm-hmm. they're probably bleeding. I mean, broken.
Yeah.
So what if you could go back in time to talk to that 5-year-old self or whatever age you were when you first experienced the trauma, what's one word of hope you would give to that younger part of you?
It'd be Jesus. And let me explain. I got saved before this stuff happened. Mm-hmm. I'm a 5-year-old boy. I don't, I'm around 5-year-old granddaughters, mm-hmm. and I see how they're so pure and innocent. Mm-hmm. But there was a guy who was preaching, and he gave the gospel, and I somehow or another recognized that there was sin in my life, and there were adults there. Yeah. But I was the youngest one probably to go forward.
Wow.
I got out of my seat, I went forward, and I cried over my sin, and I asked Jesus to be my Savior. That happened. Mm-hmm. Okay. The fact that I had the indwelling Holy Spirit in my life rescued me, even though I went through all of this stuff growing up, all the pornography, all of that nonsense, and confessed over and over and over and over and over. That was the biggest difference maker. So when we get down to it, and I know where we're going with this particular program, but there are two factors, the two foundations, the pillars, if you would, of recovery are number one, God, and number two, community.
Oh, wow.
If you have both of those, you have the ability to no longer be a slave to this. Take one of those away, it doesn't work. You've got to have both.
I love what you said about the difference between needing recovery and wanting recovery. Can you talk to us a little bit about what will happen? Maybe you know you need it, but you don't want it. Mm. Can you talk to someone who might be in that situation?
Well, it's not good. It's not pretty. We have a saying in the recovery program that we don't come to recovery because we see the light. We come to recovery because we feel the heat. There is going to be a point where everything's going to fall apart. Mm-hmm. Your wife is going to find out what you've been doing, mm-hmm. or you're going to get arrested. Wow. There's going to be an awful lot of consequence that comes. And when that happens, you're finally going to be in a place of saying, you know what, I got to do whatever it takes. Now, what does it take? That's the key. Mm-hmm. And what it takes is a total commitment to doing whatever it's going to take mm-hmm. to get this right. Mm-hmm. And, we're here in Rancho Cucamonga. Mike, we can't go to Los Angeles and stay here. Mm-hmm. We have to be willing to go to Los Angeles. You did a sermon a few years ago, and I still use parts of it. It was, you used the Karate Kid as an example.
Okay.
When they first got together, Miyagi says to Daniel, you ready to learn karate?
Right.
And Daniel says, yeah, I guess so. And Miyagi says, you go left side the road. Okay. You go right side the road. Okay. You go middle road, squish like grape.
Right.
You say do karate, yes? Okay. You say do karate, no? Okay. You say do karate, yes, so? Squish like grape.
Right.
So the first thing is a guy's got to be willing to say, you know what? Whatever it takes, okay, I'm going to do. But the story continues. Instead of learning karate, Daniel is given 2 sponges. Wax on, the wax off. Yeah. Wax on, wax off. Second day, paint fence, up, down, use wrist. Third day, paint house side to side, use wrist. Fourth day, sand the floor.
Yeah.
On the fifth day, Daniel says, I came here to learn karate, not fix up your house. And Miyagi says, not everything as seem.
Right.
And at that point, he starts throwing kicks and punches at Daniel, who a week before would have knocked him on his butt.
Yeah.
Now he's using the muscle memory that he's learned, and he's blocking it all. Okay, that's exactly what happens.
Okay.
I've got to change what you have normally done if you're going to change this. It's the old Indian proverb that says, if the horse you're riding on dies, it's best to get off.
I've never heard that one before. I'm going to remember that one.
Good one. Yeah, it's a good one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the Mr. Miyagi had the painting the fence, and what does that look like for someone?
The first thing that happens is you join a group, okay? And this is a recovery group focused on recovery. And what's one of the things that's going to happen in there is you're going to develop a community. Now, for a person with an addiction, community is a foreign term. It's not something that they're used to, because the addiction thrives in isolation and dies in community. Okay? I'll say it again. It thrives in isolation. It dies in community. So the first thing that we do when we get to a meeting is you're going to be welcomed as a person. And for the first time, maybe in your life, you're going to be able to tell your story. Recovery does not happen until you're in a safe place. You must be in a safe place where you retell your story in a safe place. And here's the beautiful part about it. In doing so, you get to reprogram your brain. You reprogram the neural pathway.
Just by telling your story?
Retelling your story in a safe place.
Wow.
So a person goes to a meeting. What happens at a meeting? Well, we have some things that we read, and then we talk. We talk about what's going on in the real world in our life. Is that it? No, it's not it, but it's the beginning. The first thing you're going to find in a meeting is the people there all have sponsors.
Okay.
They have somebody who has walked this path and is willing to share their experience, strength, and hope with this new person. So the first thing they do is they get a sponsor. And when they get the sponsor, now my sponsor said there were 3 things I needed to do. He said, number 1, I want you to call me every day, Monday through Friday. Okay?
All right.
Second, I want you to go to at least 1 meeting a week. 2 or 3 meetings would be great. But I'd rather have you go to 1 meeting where you know everybody and they know you than for you to go to 10 meetings where you're just a spectator. You've got to develop the community. And third, we're going to get a 12-step book and we're going to work on it together. So I did it, and it worked. Now, that was in 1989. When I have a new guy today who says, what do? I tell him the same 3 things.
Wow.
So why do those things work? Well, they get you into a community. The guys that I work with, the first thing I do is I share my story with them. The next day they share their story with me. And they're opening up about stuff that they've never talked about before. We have got to get shame, which, remember, was part of the beginning process. We have to get shame out of their life. And I teach them guilt is a healthy thing. It's good. It's a behavior that you've done that you're sorry you did. Shame, on the other hand, is a lie from hell. Shame is something that's telling you you're never going to make it. If anybody really knew you, they wouldn't want to have anything to do with you. You're not lovable. Lie from hell. We stop believing the lies and we start believing what God says. Your wife does a beautiful job with leading our worship, and one of the songs that she has done with us that I love is I am who you say I am. You're for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. The thing that we don't want to do as Christians is ask God for help with an addiction.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy.
I want to hear more.
Help me. help me. No, the thing that separates me from the guy who's trying to ask God for help is the fact that, number one, I'm successful and he never will be. The thing that mattered the most in my experience was stop asking God for help and ask God to do what I can't do. We have Paul with a thorn in the flesh.
Right.
And he says, Lord, take it away 3 times. God said, no. Well, what do you mean no? And the Bible records it. It says, my grace is sufficient for you. But we're not talking about saving grace there. Mm-hmm. What we're talking about is another word that can be translated grace, and that's divine enablement. Mm-hmm. My divine enablement is sufficient for you, for my power is made great in your weakness.
Okay.
And Paul concludes by saying, now I glory in my weakness, because when I'm weak, that's when I'm strong. 2 Chronicles chapter 20. Jehoshaphat is up against an army that's 10 times the size of his. And he says, we're doomed. We're dead.
He's right by natural.
Absolutely. Yeah. He goes to God and he says, we're powerless over this army. What do we do? And God says, go out and meet him. What? We'll get killed. Yeah. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this, because this is not your battle. It's mine. Mm. And God fights the battle. Now, why does he send them out there? Well, for 2 reasons. Number one, when they came back, they couldn't say, you should have seen how great I was. No, the only thing they could say was, God, wow. And the other part of it is somebody had to carry home the plunder.
It's very practical.
Very practical, very practical. So the concept here is the first 3 steps in a recovery program. Number one, I can't. Mm-hmm. I'm powerless over this. Mm-hmm. Second, but there is a God who has all power. He's never been defeated. He never will be. Mm-hmm. And step 3, I have the opportunity to enlist that power. So every day in the morning before I get up, God, I'm still powerless. Number 2, but you have all the power. Number 3, today I'm giving you my will and my life. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Romans chapter 12. Mm-hmm. Don't be conformed to this world,
right?
But be being transformed.
Be being
transformed. It's in that tense.
Yeah.
How? By the renewing of your mind. How do I do that? God, it's too big for me. I'm giving it to you. And the beautiful part, Mike, is for a guy who is dealing with this addiction right now, he can put that into practice and it will work on day 1.
Wow.
It'll work on day 1. Now, that doesn't mean that he's recovered, because abstinence and recovery are 2 different things.
Okay. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Abstinence is I'm no longer doing that.
Okay.
But you've ever heard of the term of a dry drunk?
Yes.
The guy's not drinking anymore, but he has all of the characteristics of a drunk.
So, he's just not drunk.
Right.
But his brain, so I'm thinking his brain's working the same way.
Yeah. The recovery program is, realistically, I believe that the 12-step program is a great way to practice sanctification. Okay.
And Dallas Willard, a lot of theologians agree with you.
Yeah. So what is sanctification? Well, the end goal is that I would be conformed to the image of Christ.
Right.
Okay. So what is it going to take to do that? Now, remember, this 12-step program started with a Bible study called the Oxford Group. Mm-hmm. And they weren't interested in reaching alcoholics. What they were all about was, how do I become Christ-like?
Wow.
And what they figured out is, well, the first thing we got to do is address the past.
Sure.
We got to clear up the wreckage of your past. So they wound up doing an inventory, searching and fearless, that did everything you did wrong since you were the kid pulling the cat's tail. Okay? All the way through. And then, before God, ourselves, and another human being, we confess that. Wow. Now, that inventory also pointed out character defects. And now what we do is we figure out what those are, and then we humbly ask God to remove them. All right, so I'm right with God because of the first 3 steps. 4, 5, 6, and 7, I'm now right with me.
Okay.
What's left? The people I've harmed. Steps 8 and 9. We made a list of the people we had harmed, and we became willing to make amends to them. And we did. Step 10 is, what would be the right word? Think about step 4 as putting a blackboard up in the rotunda of the Capitol building and listing all your sins. In step 5, you get to erase it all. Okay, but we keep one blackboard up there because we're still sinners. In step 10, we keep personal inventory every day, and when we're wrong, we promptly admit it.
A very short account.
Right. Step 11, we continue to grow in our relationship with Christ. And in step 12, you become the missionary.
Okay. That sounds a lot different than just abstaining from a behavior. There's so much out there that if we're not careful, we can think if I just read the right book, if I just hear the right sermon, or have the right person prayer zap it out of me, that sounds more like wanting a hack, an abstinence hack.
Yeah, and understand, Mike, a guy who comes into a recovery program does not come because he wants to be regenerated. He comes because he wants to stop this.
Yeah,
okay?
Sure.
And what he has to learn is to stop this and make it not a part of your life. Is a bigger task than just stopping the addiction for one day or 1 month or 1 year.
Yeah.
It's transforming a life.
Yeah. I've heard it called a curriculum for life.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me for a second to parents, grandparents, church leaders, kind of how can we create environments a few minutes ago that would protect the kids you were talking about a few minutes ago, where the average age of exposure is 9?
Well, number one, parents, don't be naive. Don't think it's not going to happen. They're going to see it. They're going to see it. Unfortunately, the most Christian churches don't address it. And parents and grandparents, they don't know what their kids are up against. And they need education on it.
I want to be able to equip people as well. And I can say I resonate with that as a parent. I'm trying to resource myself, but none of the churches I've attended or worked at had an articulated response. I don't expect it to be perfect. But I've had that talk with all 3 of my kids. At some point, you're going to see something that makes you uncomfortable. I want you to be able to come to me and tell me.
Now, Mike, I can give you some resources that we can post, and if people can go to the website or something, and they could find those.
And that's what we want to do here on this podcast, is give folks practical, boots on the ground help to following Jesus and to help them share Jesus with their family. Can you talk to, I'm very interested in the folks that may have come, maybe the algorithm brought them this podcast and they're saying, I need to start this journey. Can you look into the camera and talk to that guy out there? His heart's beating. He doesn't know what to do for the first step, but he knows he needs to do something.
Yeah. Brother, let me say it, or sister, this is not hopeless. This is not something that God wants for your life. This is not something that you have to continue to live with. You have been damaged, and it's going to damage your family, your wife. She's going to need help. It's going to damage your kids. And today is a day to do something about it. My information, I'll give you my phone number. It's 909-997-3816. Again, that's 909-997-3816. And call me. I would be happy to talk to you, and I would help you get plugged in. We have recovery groups that are on Zoom, and every week there are at least 100 guys that are at one of those meetings. We have one here in the Pacific, we have another one on Tuesday night on the East Coast, and we have one on Saturday morning. And there are recovery groups all over the world now. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to live there anymore.
Brian, thank you so much for this practical advice and shameless in a good way. Because I feel your heart wanting to help those that are stuck. And this is practical first steps for breaking that bondage. And I'm so excited to let you guys know your story isn't done. I love the scripture, he whom the Son sets free is free indeed.
Okay.
If you're ready to start, we have resources for you in our show notes and in the description of this podcast. And we have a group that meets right here at Solid Ground Church in Rancho Cucamonga. We also have resources available for you who aren't in our area. And share this with someone who needs hope. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out what's next. And let us know at sgbic.com what topics you would like for us to tackle. In the meantime, my friend, you are not alone. Reach out to us and we'll walk this road with you. So we'll see you next time on Groundwork.